This is Gateway City Sports.
It's a trap!
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
This is the Team of Rivals podcast.
Everything you want to hear from the big sports to the big screen.
He's all by himself, fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No! Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
He doesn't like you. I don't like you either.
Time winding down, Michael for three. Yeah! Yes! She is gone! I can't believe what I just saw! Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! You believe in miracles? Yes!
You may fire when ready.
What?
Hey, how's it going, Cubs and Cardinals fans? We're recording this on Monday, April 25th, but it really doesn't matter because this is the Team of Rivals podcast, and we're not screaming because, to quote the great Ron Nuttall in tonight's text chat, F streaming. But we are the Team of Rivals podcast, and we are proud members of the Gateway City Sports Network, where you can find great podcasts and blog content. You can follow us online at teamofrivalspodcast.com, and we're on Instagram, Facebook, and Rumble at Team of Rivals Podcast, and we're on Twitter and Getter at Team of Rivals Pod. For those of you watching us on YouTube, I guess, because I'll probably transcribe this into a video at some point, hit the like and subscribe buttons and be sure to ring that bell on YouTube and Rumble so that you receive notifications anytime we post new content. I feel bad for you if you're listening to this and not getting to watch me eat dinner in a dress shirt. But, you know, F streaming. That's what we have to say. It's a momentous day. We're 3 weeks into baseball. I think the NL Central, at least, has ended up pretty much precisely where we expected it, although the Pirates are showing a little bit of spunk, but we know what's going to happen. They'll end up at the bottom of the heap eventually. And also a historic day, Elon Musk apparently buying Twitter. So,
oh, I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be – I'm actually looking forward to it. So, joining me, he jumped in. He doesn't need an introduction. You know him, you love him, co-founder of TOR and number 104 in the 2021 edition of the Top Cards on Twitter. Ron Nuttall, Elliot. We don't know where he is. But Ron opened a can in his honor.
Just for Elliot. You know, it's funny when he ghosts us on text. What was it last night? I said, hey, guys, do you want to jump on? You know, we've missed a couple Thursdays in a row. You know, scheduling, you've had a lot of stuff going on school-wise, and you know, I was traveling last week and I was exhausted by the time I got back on Thursday. And, you know, last night's the best one from Elliot. I'm going to be too drunk to do a show tonight. Did I get that right? Do I remember?
Basically.
So, okay, fine. And then he must be recovering today because we haven't heard a peep from him. Not even a thumbs up on the,
no, you're right.
The group text.
He hasn't even responded.
I know.
Like it was all back and forth between you and me ever since... What, 7:30 last night? Yeah. Oof. I'm pretty hammered for a Sunday night. I was forced to go to a baby shower. I didn't know that baby shower.
Right there. I can't blame him for that one. That's not, you know, I got sent.
Hammered at a baby shower?
Why not?
I will say that is definitely committing to the bit.
Mm-hmm.
He felt it was necessary in order to get through. Okay.
Dude, it's going to be like 4 or 5 weeks since all three of us have actually made a show at the same time, because it was just me and him, I believe, last time, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
it's been so I'm sure you remember this. Our longtime listeners may, but anybody who's newer to the show won't. But normally the month of May is kind of my hell month. You know, that's when prom and graduation and all that stuff happens. And
for the people that are new, Pete, you're an activities director at a high school, and not just guys, not just a high school of 200 to 400 people. You're talking like 2 campuses, like thousands of kids. I mean, this is not
4,000 kids. Yep.
4,000 kids, like 4 times the size of my school at its height.
How big is not now? How big was Canton when you were growing up?
Oh man, I really don't know. I think I had a senior class of 80 people, give or take.
So I would imagine that the city was probably town, village. What were you guys officially?
I think the town of Canton. The town of Canton is what I heard it referred most to, and it was a town of about 15,000. I don't know if the prison
Okay.
I think maybe the prison population added to that because there is a state prison. I'm not sure. I think technically that adds to the population. I don't know. I could be wrong, but yeah, a town. It's always been, I think, on average around 15,000. So
okay,
not big. Near Peoria, so about a half an hour away from Peoria. So Peoria is much bigger. I
was going to insult your hometown, but I'll back off. I was going to say that I'm in charge of a school that's as big as Ron's hometown, but that's not true. So,
no, we're damn near 4 times the size of your little high school there, Pete, in Chicago.
You're pushing it, but still,
it's pushing it. I'm rounding up.
Point being, yeah, you're right. So the point being is that in May, so as part of my job, for those who are unfamiliar, I oversee 100 clubs. And then all the special events. So things like all the homecoming events and assemblies and prom, all that stuff runs through my office.
And he still has time once in a while to do this.
Once in a while.
This is one of the few things that you have anchored to a personal life, right? Like you've got, sometimes your jobs can be people's soul. I get it. But you don't strike me as that. I think baseball and our ability to jump on here together has been one of your anchors throughout the whole time. It has to be, right? It's one of mine.
And that's part of why the last 3-4 weeks have sucked, is because of the pandemic and a bunch of other factors. Not only is May going to be a hell month, but now the month of April is. And so, yeah, that's why it's been difficult for me to jump on, is because I've literally the last 3 Thursdays I've been at work.
Well, we'll have to get creative like this and do what we can on off nights, right? It doesn't have to be
when we're not streaming, it's a hell of a lot easier.
I hate it so much, man. The more we don't do it, the more I despise doing it. And I can't believe I'm thinking,
Ron? I'm thinking that streaming needs to be that kind of special one-off thing.
It really does.
That we do when we're in the same room.
Yeah. Because
then we don't have to worry about the internet and
the pressure's not there because I'm not paying some monthly stupid subscription. It was a one-time cost. It's already been paid for, and we don't have to have the pressure. And we used it for a couple of years, and it was fine. But there's no pressure.
Takes the pressure off you, because then you don't have to worry about getting cameras focused and getting shots set up and everything. You just turn on the camera and we go.
I put everything. I tried to do it well. And I think about, maybe I was probably about call me a 350 hitter on when the production went really well and when it was just kind of half-assed, and I lost the will to live towards the end of our streaming, our regular weekly streaming thing with the Facebook algorithms and sharing things out. We saw the views go down, and I know the streaming world's inundated by everybody doing everything. They all want to do it live in front of camera for a live audience, so you can interact with the audience and give live feedback. But you know what? I think we give that a whirl. But I couldn't agree with you more, Pete. And we're actually show planning while we're recording, and I couldn't agree more that this should be a special kind of thing that when we actually do it live. I just, my feelings on it. I think it's well documented here. I hate it so much. And I'm smiling. I can't stop smiling that we're only recording. And we can edit and delete any major screw ups.
It's just too bad that people can't watch me eat while you're monologuing.
I tried to give you some time there. I saw you chewing. So,
well, look, Ron.
How's your La Croix, by the way?
It's delicious. How's your manly drink that you're sipping with? One, I saw the pinky go up there as it came down.
It kind of has to in these tall, thin cans. No, we had baseball practice tonight, Little League. My 9-year-old. He's the one that's a challenge to get out there. He's really not interested that much, but once he gets out there, he has fun because he's with kids his own age. And there is I know it's not a Little League show. There is a thrill at seeing some kids play for the first time, like never played baseball before, but they started this year, and to see where they're at about 3/4 of the way through this spring season, it does. It brings a smile to my face to see some of these kids have have come a long way from day one, and they can hit a little bit better. They can actually catch a ball, or at least let the ball hit the glove instead of ducking away from it. So it's certain satisfaction of coaching a team like this with young kids, because you got to split. You got 4 or 5 that are really good, can do just about anything. They can, in fact, they're probably borderline. They could play a age group up if they wanted to. You got some that have just never played before and they're timid. Look, a baseball is kind of hard, and when other kids throw it fast, your human instinct is to get the hell away from that thing that could damage my face. But
I just want to put in perspective for people listening. Ron's in North Carolina.
Yep.
And he is 3/4 of the way through his spring baseball season. Here in Illinois, my son's first baseball game is tomorrow night.
Well, the rec baseball kind of leagues here end just about when school ends, because by the time you get to June, July, August, and they have tournament leagues and travel ball over the summer. But I'm telling you, by the time you get into about, when parents get off work and playing at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening on weeknights, I mean, you're talking like 90 plus degree weather here. It's miserable. It's really hot. So that's why, and there's a fall league too. So instead of having these rec leagues that go all through the summer, there's a fall league that fires up about September and it stretches into August. So they get just as much playing time as anywhere else. It's just, they cut out the really hot months when the kids are, going to summer camps and aren't around. So we make it up.
Same thing up here. We start later because obviously it's just too damn cold.
Right. And you can go into the summer farther.
Yeah, we'll go into June.
Yep.
And then they'll have a fall league as well. And that one's really compressed. Not a lot of practice.
Yeah, because there's snow by the end of it. So
right. But yeah, I mean, I think they have 1 or 2 weeks and then they jump right into games because the assumption is that the kids have probably been going to camp or whatever. They played in the spring. Their skills are still fresh. They haven't grown rusty over the winter. So
yep.
We'll see what happens. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I'll just say that I was at practice last week and was very proud of the progress that the boy has made, and I'll leave it at that.
Good.
I don't want to say too much, and
I will say
I'd rather people think I'm a fool than prove myself one.
I would say my 9-year-old, I'm impressed that his disinterest has climbed in playing baseball. He is a total soccer, basketball, constant movement. That's his thing. And so I see the baseball dwindling. Now the older one he's still very much into it. So it's
well, I mean, that makes sense for the younger one though, because as much as people complain about the unwritten rules, they still are there. There are certain rules of decorum, and if he gets a really good hit, he can't go sliding in front of the other team's bench and basically tell them to suck it. And apparently that's allowed on the basketball court in North Carolina. I've seen that picture.
Oh, so. Yeah. Well, no, they line the kids up at half court and they have to point to who they're supposed to be guarding. And so the picture you remember is on his knees pointing. He's pointing at the kid he's supposed to be guarding for the rest of the half.
Oh, is that what that was?
That's what that was.
It looked like he was taunting.
Taunting. Bench. No, Will is not going to taunt anybody because I don't know if he's made a basket. He's hit the bottom of it really hard. I'm not sure he's made many. So anyway.
I can tell from the pictures. Is he still built like the brick shit house that he was the last time I visited?
Yeah, he's only about maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches shorter than his older brother, but he weighs more.
Well, yeah, he's always weighed more than Sam, hasn't he?
At least as much, but yeah, he weighs more.
Incredible.
Yeah, they're built. They couldn't be any more different. But you
see
my uncle.
It's a good time. It's good to get caught up.
It is. I mean, we might as well just get caught up on a personal level here in front. No, I think you said it earlier. We're about 3 weeks into the season. Things are about as we expected. The Cardinals are getting their first test really tonight. They're facing one of the. Now they've had a 4-game series against Milwaukee. Milwaukee's still tough this year. Their rotation is no joke. They split the series in Milwaukee, so that's all you can ask for, right? When they're the defending Central champions. So I think the Cardinals did what they had to do there, but now they're facing elite pitching in Max Scherzer tonight, and he gave them nothing through 7 innings. I mean, he gave them nothing, like 2 hits, and one of them was Paul Goldschmidt fooling Francisco Lindor. They were in the shift. Lindor thought the second baseman was closer to the ball and gave up on it. So, I mean, really, he gave up one legit hit, and that was it. Max Scherzer, who nobody but Cohen wanted to pay.
Right. Probably his, third start of the year, and he went 7 lights out innings.
Yeah, and he's probably pissed off, and they pulled him out.
Of course.
Because nobody had anything on him tonight. So
I'm sure that if Elliot was here, he would agree. No surprise in what we've seen from the Cubs.
But we got to talk about the 21 runs, the 3 touchdowns versus the.
Yeah, but you gotta put that in context. It's not like it came against a good team, although they did drop the series to that same team.
I can't. Well, that's more surprising, really. Like, can you not parse those runs out of the other 2 games, and your record looks a lot different?
Yeah, I know. Here's the funny thing about it. If this was football, the Cubs win on aggregate.
Right.
They outscored them, so they won.
Yeah.
They only won 1 game in the 4-game series, but as far as runs scored, Cubs won on aggregate. I'll take that.
A rare error from Nolan Arenado, overthrow. Mets score their first run. It's 2-1 now. 2 outs, guy on first, so Gallegos is on. Arenado, man, you don't see him do that too much.
Don't.
He went really far to his right, almost out. He threw it out of, obviously he threw it in foul territory. He caught it in fair territory, but his momentum was taking him away. Airmailed it.
And that's almost the curse of being an exceptional defender, right? That's the kind of play where
feel like you have to do it every time.
Third baseman, if he gets to the ball,
eats it.
Yeah, he just puts it in his pocket because he knows he has no chance.
Yeah, he probably should have done that there. I mean, it would have been first and third, 2 outs. We'll see what happens here. Sorry, we're doing this all shit live, guys. You guys are going to listen to this tomorrow, and you're going to hear us talk about our kids for about 20 minutes here, and then we finally get into baseball. But
21 runs, yeah. So I was with the boy. I had him this weekend.
Yeah,
and we hosted one of the inaugural esports sectionals here in Illinois. IHSA has officially made esports a sport activity, competitive activity. So they're running a state series. And so my school hosted one of the sectionals. So I obviously had no idea what was going on. And we walk out of it. And I saw, I don't know, a post or a tweet or something that said that the Cubs had scored 8 runs in, I think it was the first or the second inning. I was like, oh, wow. Okay, well, they're in good shape. I mean, the bullpen has been, it's hard to say that the Cubs bullpen has been a pleasant surprise because this has been a thing for the last 2 or 3 years. The Cubs have quietly become a team that can reclaim pitchers and build a bullpen at not a lot of spectacular names. So I can't say that it was surprising. So seeing that they had scored 8 runs in an inning, you figure, okay, they'll make that hold up. And then I logged on and saw that it was, I think at that point it was 16-0. And it, you know the reaction, right? Boy, guys, save some runs for later. And then as we're driving around to Home Depot to pick up some plants and, doing some errands, they just keep adding on and adding on and adding on. And finally, when the game ended, I texted you guys and I was like, it's nice to see the Bears offense come to life and hang 21 on the Steelers, but I didn't know that football season had already started. Yeah. 21-0. It's ridiculous.
And who was the Bears receiver that got in trouble this week? I don't know if you caught that.
Oh yeah. I don't know. It's somebody that they just signed too.
Yeah. Speaking of, you said the Bears, and it reminded me. I saw the tweet on that today.
Way to start your tenure with a new team. Good job.
I know, it's like they signed Ocho Cinco. Like, way to start it off.
Right.
All right. So this game's getting on edge here. Sorry, I'm looking over to my right. I
can tell. I can tell.
Second and third, 2 outs. No. Yeah, they're getting in trouble here. But I've got faith in Gallegos. I mean, gosh, the Mets. Let's talk about the Mets for a second. They haven't had Jacob deGrom.
No.
They had a pretty damn good record. Now, small sample size, right? Like, it's early in the year. as always, we expect the Mets to have some kind of meltdown, injuries, whatever, whatever it is. It's I call it Mets. They stay healthy, they're going to be pretty damn good.
You would think so.
I mean, if their pitching were to hold up, all of them, they're giving anybody in baseball a run for their money. They have to, and they've got just enough on offense with Alonso. Cano can still be dangerous. I dare not try to name the rest of the people in the starting lineup of the roster, but they're pretty good.
And they have some guys that if they wanted to, they could move.
Sure. Yeah.
They have
and they have an owner that, I'm sorry, has some balls.
Yeah.
Has money and isn't really scared to spend it.
Yeah. Kind of reminds you a little bit of George Steinbrenner in the 90s.
Just on Long Island rather than, in the Bronx.
Exactly. It reminds me of Steinbrenner in that he had a shrewd executive in the front office who he clearly trusted. And so, when he came to him and he said, "Hey, this is the move that we need to make, and I need you to back my play," he did.
Yeah,
and you're absolutely right. You don't see that a lot with teams.
No, you really don't. This day anymore, where optimization is key. These human beings are commodities. Tied. God damn it. Mets are up.
It's a pretty mild reaction, Ron.
Mets are up. No, there was second and third, and Goldschmidt made a diving play to stop the damn ball. By the time he got up, Gallegos was not at first. The guy made it to first safely, and both the guys from third and second scored. It's 3-2 Mets. Fuck. I hear my wife. I should put my microphone next to the door. I hear my wife out there.
That's what happens when you have a shortened spring training. You got to cut PFPs short.
Yeah, I mean, he made a hell of a play to stop it. But
and you know why, Ron? You know why you do PFPs, right?
Oh, Gallegos did not sprint. He did not take off correctly over to the bag.
Right. And the reason that you do PFPs is to ensure that your players know exactly what they're doing. Right?
Right.
I mean, it's insurance in case things go wrong.
Anyway, all right. I can hone back in.
Ron,
I know you did. You did, and it's important to stay protected. I dropped the ball on this, and you can't drop the ball on getting yourself protected. Sometimes life throws a curve at all of us, and that's why you need Allstate. The Wiley Group has 2 locations in Festus and Arnold to serve you. They offer home, auto, boat, motorcycle, business, life insurance, investments, and so much more. They offer a customized approach that is unique to your situation to make sure you, your family, and assets are properly protected. They offer great rates and savings. Give Sean and his team a call today at 636-764-6294, and they'll help you get an insurance quote right over the phone. We all have busy lives. You can email Sean at SeanWiley@allstate.com and talk to him about your coverage options. And remember, you're in good hands with Allstate. This is an unpleasant feeling. Not gone to commercial. I think they've either got the last out, wasn't paying attention because I was reading. So I'm not sure what's happening.
Old Gallegos.
One of the two. May have. Whatever happened, it got to him, and he cracked. And it's his first bad outing this year, but it happens to be against a really good damn team. Cardinals had him in the last inning. Couldn't rein it in.
Nope, still top of 9.
Yeah, they
still
had to pull
top
him.
of 9, and looks like McFarland's in now. So yeah, they took the time out because they pulled him.
TJ.
That's rough.
It is rough. Had a chance to take the Mets down and couldn't do it. Pond scum. Couldn't do it. This one will hurt.
Nicholas had a nice start though, right?
He did.
I mean, I got an alert on my phone when I was at the event tonight that said that both Michaelis and Scherzer were locked in a pitching duel.
You would have loved it. 8 innings, no runs scored. It was, or through 7.
That's my kind of game.
I know. It was a good game. Michaelis relied, he wasn't shutting people down. He was relying on defense that came through for him. And, all things went really well. And, Scherzer was, didn't have to rely on defense. He just mowed everybody down.
He's Max Scherzer. So
He just Scherzer to everybody with
does.
his different colored eyes and creepy face. Perfect.
He does, man. You don't notice it. It's funny. Like people who have heterochromia, you don't typically notice it. It's got to be a close up, and then you see a picture of him, and it looks like somebody
Photoshopped it.
Yeah, somebody did a poor job of photoshopping it, or they missed one section of it.
Hang on a second.
For those of you who
Mother
are listening,
bleep.
Ron is
2-run home run. It's 5-2 Mets.
Wow.
God damn it.
So
I've got to shut this off.
Gallegos comes in and gives up 3 runs.
Yeah.
They have 3 hang on him.
There was probably an unearned in there with Arenado's error. Yep. So
I bet all of them are. Is it 1 or 2 outs?
there were 2.
Oh yeah, so they're all going to be unearned. That home run's going to be the home run. The hitter will be earned.
I have to go back and look at it, but anyway, not a great night. I thought this was pretty much wrapped up. It's not now. It's. I'll call it what it is.
Talking about the kids,
maybe. No, I saw this series coming up on the schedule. I'm like, hey, this is going to be a solid test for them. They're going to find out how good they are compared to the elites, and that's been kind of the story the last couple of years. Cardinals have put themselves in a position to be good enough to make it at the end of the year, but damn well, like all of us look at this and go, yeah, but you're not good enough to take these kinds of guys down. You're not. You can't take the Dodgers down. You're not taking the Giants last year. Probably would have, paper cut them to death in the playoffs. That's how the Giants do it. And a team like the Mets right here, that's, I look up and I forget that Starling Marte is in their outfield. He's still a pretty damn good player.
Yes.
So there you go. I named another guy on their starting lineup, but yeah, they're a tough competitor with an elite pitching staff, and I just don't see the Cardinals stacking up against teams like this very good. And it's like it didn't have to be this way. You kind of feel like it could have been a few measures that were done that could have put you at least closer to the same level, but you didn't do it. So you got to rely on questionable rotation from beginning to end to hold up, bullpen to hold up again like it did last year, and offense to do just enough to get you there. And so I don't like these hopes. I don't like a team built on a bunch of hopes. Early, so nobody's going to panic yet.
What stresses you more? Rooting for a team that's built on hopes, or rooting for a team that looks like it's solid and underperforms?
I've been there. I've been there with this. So, yeah, I mean, you look at your roster on paper at the beginning and expectations are high, so you're expecting excellence all the time, and you can get disappointed about it really quick and get stressed out. Look at the 105 win Cardinals in 2004, who they ran into the Red Sox in the World Series and couldn't generate anything, any momentum, nothing. Seen them do that a few times throughout the years. So, yeah, we're baseball fans, man. We'll find things to get stressed about when things aren't perfect. And so,
you know what else is stressful, Ron?
Buying a car.
Damn right. Look, we all know buying a vehicle can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Fifth Street Motors, located in Pacific, Missouri, will help you find the vehicle you need, no matter what brand. Fifth Street Motors believes in giving you the best price on a pre-owned vehicle that will fit your budget. So give Brandon or Don a call today at 573-259-1306. Tell them Gateway City Sports sent you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I like you set yourself up for that one.
Well, I was trying to get you to pick it up, but I was afraid that you were going to drop it.
No,
again,
I had it right here, but no, you're good, man. You should, in fact, you have to take all the responsibilities of this show from now on, not only recording, but introing and exiting, but go ahead and reading the ad reads too. That's great.
You can just sit back and just let it fly.
Just sit back like Elliot and just show up whenever I want and just crack a beer open and not have to prep. That's not fair. Like, we do a ton of prep for this.
Right.
But anyway, one more thing I want to talk about is just, MLB on Twitter. And we'll get to Twitter. We'll get to the big thing we want to talk about here at the end. But MLB on Twitter put out a clip of, I don't know who the player was. Somebody said it was Dylan Carlson on MLB Network. I don't think it was. It looked to me more like Tommy Edman or Lars Nootbaar. Albert just working with a young player outside the cage during batting practice.
Can I just take 1 second? And you can absolutely get him. Lars Nootbaar totally sounds like a made-up name. Anyway,
it sounds like a Metallica. It sounds like Lars Ulrich. It sounds like a Metallica like drummer, like his. No,
Lars Ulrich sounds like a real name. Lars Nootbaar sounds like somebody's messing with me.
I have never looked up Nootbaar in a phone book. The next city I travel to, I will look and see if there's a Nootbaar.
Brilliant. There might be a Nootbaar.
Maybe.
I think Big Al's is a Nootbaar, isn't it?
Big Al's
in Peoria,
the Gentleman's Club.
Yeah, it's a nude bar.
A nude bar. Yeah, yes. Kind of.
Hey, have you been back recently? They moved. They're right across from the Civic Center now.
It's an even more classy area. They moved from downtown?
No, they're still in downtown, but they're literally kitty corner from the Civic Center. I was joking with my chess coach when we were down there.
You take your family to a ball game and then,
Exactly. I was telling my chess coach when we were down there for a state, I said, hey, you wanted to take the kids out for dinner after the tournament ended. I said, we could take them for $8 ribeyes, kitty corner to here.
$8 ribeyes. That sounds
$8 ribeyes. We could. Sorry, we didn't know what it was. We were trying to save the team money.
That's right. An $8 ribeye sounded really good in 1972.
Look, I wasn't going to be going there for the ribeye.
For the lunch. Or they had a great lunch menu.
I bet they do.
Yeah.
Anyway, Albert was working with a young player in the cage.
Working with a young player in the cage, and kind of one of the things, like, I know a lot of people are, especially those who are just only fans of minor leaguers and young players. Like they hate anybody who over 30. They just despise, and a lot of Cardinals Twitter, a lot of young Cardinals fans are like, the next minor leaguer is always the next best answer, right? Like, why is Yachty still on this team? Should be Ivan Herrera. Kisner should be getting most of the starts. All this kind of shit. We've heard it for years. So those bitching of why Albert was brought back, like him working with young, look, you kids who didn't actually see him play here from 2001 to 2011, why don't you go look at his numbers and compare them next to Mike Trout's first 10 years? They're actually better. Okay? That's not taking anything away from Mike Trout. He's fantastic in a time where athletes are like bionic and physically like off the charts. But Albert's numbers are actually better. And so when you got a guy like that, a veteran, pulling a young player aside and showing them a few things, like he doesn't have the physical ability to do what he used to do, but he can at least translate, and talk to them about what he prepared for, what kind of position your body needs to be in. I mean, if there's the best reason they brought him back wasn't just to face lefties. It's that kind of thing. And that's the reason why they kept Yachty around for so many years too. Like showing those young catchers, the next wave, the next generation, like teaching them things. Like, this is a really good thing. And I saw that clip and I'm like, well, this is why. This is why it's a good thing to pay him. Oh my God, that whole $2.5 million. It's not your money, by the way, Cardinals fans. It's DeWitt's. And it didn't take away from anything. I know it's blocking that next young infielder who could have got 25 more at bats this year. Oh my God, he was blocked by that nasty old man, Albert Pujols. But he's teaching people and he's pulling them aside and sharing his knowledge. That's worth the money. That's worth the risk. That's worth the effort. That's why you do it. So, it's
the same reason the Cubs signed John Lester. I mean, They knew that they were going to get performance. I think that if you were to get them in a moment of honesty, I don't think Jed and Tio thought that they were going to get out of John Lester.
But they probably thought the first couple of years they would get good performance. But towards the end, they knew it was a write-off towards the end. And
right. And I don't think that they thought that they were going to get a Cy Young contender, right? I mean, he finished, what was it, second in the Cy Young voting that 1 year.
Sure, but yeah, to your point, Pete, they weren't getting a lights-out, shut-down guy. They were getting an experienced veteran who had been in the playoffs, been through the rigors, been through the gauntlet. I guarantee
the Cubs do not win the World Series without him in that rotation.
I wouldn't disagree.
And it was not necessarily because of the performances that he threw in the playoffs were that instrumental. But I think that the effect that he had on the other pitchers was incalculable.
Yeah, no, wouldn't doubt that at all. You know what? He had an impact in St. Louis in a short stint there, which he looked great in Cardinal red, by the way. I mean, he looked fantastic. He really did. Like, he could have spent his whole career there and had a statue. But he fucked up and got drafted by the Red Sox. So
then he really fucked up and signed with the Cubs.
No, he fucked up before that and got traded to the A's.
Yeah, well, that was because
that was stock trading to the A's, by the way.
Yep. Before he got traded to the A's, his thought was that he was going to retire with the Red Sox. He said that.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until he got traded and he got to see another organization that he entertained actually entering the free agent market and looking around. His intention going into that year was that he was going to re-up with the Red Sox at the end of the year. And it was just going to be a matter of coming to a number that both sides could be happy with.
Yeah.
But his intention was to stay with Boston his entire career. So thank you.
And he found himself in an A's.
Thank you, Ben Harrington.
He found himself in an A's uniform.
That's right. Ben Harrington.
Which, look, that's not to disparage the A's. We've been over this before. Pete, let's end it with this. Like, I'm rather disgusted by the bottom four teams in the league as far as spending. I think that, if baseball is going to entertain any more owners buying teams, they need to look for certain traits in their habits, and the habits of the Pittsburgh owner, Oakland owner. I'll throw Cleveland in there, and definitely Baltimore. Like, they can no longer allow owners like this to buy teams. They just can't. The amount of revenue sharing, I would love to see it. Well, this stuff is not transparent. The amount of revenue sharing that these guys have taken versus the amount they've actually reinvested back into their franchise, I believe that it's borderline criminal that they've done nothing. You've seen teams tank and rebuild, right? According to the rules, they could do that. I know the rules might change, but these guys have done nothing. They've taken advantage of their fans, and I'm torn with what's happening in Oakland, where they had like under 3,000 paid attendance over the last week. And I know it's a protest, but they're probably going to lose their team at some point. They're going to move. I think baseball should take it one step further. I didn't say baseball, did I? I think I did. I think they should take it one step further and make that guy sell. They should rip that franchise from his talons and take it from him. Horseshit leadership, horseshit ownership, taking advantage.
The last thing that you should do is reward that guy with a brand new publicly subsidized stadium.
What city with his strategies he think he's going to go to and make more? Like Vegas. This stupid ass president for the Reds too.
He thinks that Vegas is going to solve all his problems.
Well,
which it might
temporarily
in his coffers, but still, he's going to have to take the approach that the Golden Knights have in Vegas and actually try to win. And it's hard to say. I honestly don't know why Billy Beane has stayed there.
I really don't either. I think it's just this obsession with making something that was so hard to do. And I give him credit, right? This is really hard to do here, almost impossible. But
I think you're right.
They are a franchise where they have to sell blood every year just to survive, which means they're their own players. I mean,
and think about it. We know this. You've been in that situation. You've worked so hard on something,
mm-hmm.
and it's not that you want to be proven right. It's just that you can't let it go. You've poured so much time and effort into it.
You want to defy the odds. You want to make that work there. You want to accomplish it there where it was impossible to do. Everybody said it was impossible to do. And
the only person that you, at this point, the only person that you have anything to prove to is yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's past that point. There's not enough praise that can be heaped on you. And I think Billy Beane probably knows it. he's not going to get enough praise if he does actually manage to win a World Series with the A's. There's not going to be enough praise that's going to be heaped on him in order to make up for all of the ridicule and criticism he has received over the years.
Well, he shouldn't be receiving any of it.
Well, I know he shouldn't, but still, we don't talk about the owner. We talk about the A's, right? And it's impossible.
We talk about Moneyball, and he's tried this formula for 2 decades, and it hasn't worked. But it's just horse shit. I mean, you got Pittsburgh, one of the oldest, like, iconic franchises, and I say iconic because they were one of the original. Like, they go back to the beginning of baseball.
76.
Like, you can't possibly be operating this way. This is crazy. Like, you can't do it. Look at your Pittsburgh Steelers. It's not just a football town. If you were a winning franchise and you were devoted to winning,
well,
you'd be the Steelers.
It's not. It is a football town now.
Well, it is now because their team has decided to suck for 3 or 4 decades.
I mean, think about it. In the 70s, God, what a great sports town. You had the Steelers and the Pirates both winning their respective championships.
It had to be awesome.
Or contending for it on a regular basis. And then again in the 80s and the 90s, the Pirates were good.
And you had the Pittsburgh Penguins winning in the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, that can be a good sports town. I don't want to hear any ownership group whining about Pittsburgh not supporting its teams. No, you put a shit product out there on purpose. You did. And
consistently.
Yeah.
It's not like, look, we need to do what the Cubs are doing or do what the Cubs did last year and probably is going to be the case this year. We've gone past the sell-by date and we need to retool. So we appreciate your patience. It's going to take a couple of years, but we'll be back. But we just needed to move on from these players because it wasn't working. That's not what the Pirates are doing. They're just putting out a terrible product year after year. And they're saying, what are you going to do? Thank you for the beautiful ballpark. Although you realize that PNC is like 20 years old.
Yes.
But anyway, thank you for the beautiful ballpark. We're going to put a AAA team in there. And we dare you not to come. And the people of Pittsburgh are saying, fine, we won't.
Yeah. Well,
we'll just go to more Steelers games because the Steelers actually try.
And Oakland's way ahead of that curve as far as we're not going anymore, which is sad. You know, like our fan bases, maybe their percentage of devotion is smaller, but there's still those fans that live and breathe A's baseball. And this is what they're getting. So
and on the other side of it too, I understand, right? Oakland Coliseum is clearly the worst stadium in baseball.
No, man, I'd put it neck and neck with Tampa Bay. I've been there.
Point taken.
The Trop,
but it's at the bottom of the list.
The Trop was a funeral home when I was there, and maybe it was just the year, but I could hear the umpire upper deck. I could hear the umpire calling balls and strikes.
Well, because it's indoors, it echoes.
Pete, that's not fair.
But
he was still 300 yards away from me.
Bringing it back to Oakland, though, like here's what I don't understand, right? Why does the city of Oakland not? And I'm not saying that they need to pay for this stadium, but why are they not trying to move heaven and earth to create some kind of public-private partnerships with the corporations that are there in order to not lose this team?
You'd have to look at the politics there. Like it's just like the politics in St. Louis, right? It took moving heaven and earth to get a Major League Soccer team that's going to fire up in 2023. Like, it took a lot of effort for them to actually do that. And you had a split county and city who don't work well together. And so I don't know what the politics are out in Oakland, but I would guess it's a mix of people who just don't give a shit about sports. They don't see the value in it. And others that are prioritizing all kinds of other things, maybe for the right reason, but it's what you have. You have it's politics. It's politics in Oakland, which is probably a reason why they lost the Raiders and why they're about to lose the A's. And they should lose the A's, by the way. And that owner should actually lose the franchise, in my opinion. The Pittsburgh owner, Nutting, I think is his name. Like, that should be just ripped from his talons. Pay him whatever, fair value, but it should be taken from him. I'm borderline on Baltimore because evidently they have a good farm system, but Jesus Christ, I mean, we've seen other teams rebuild in a fraction of the time these teams claim they're going to, and some never do. So,
I tell you what, I don't understand is how the other owners can tolerate this, right? Like, it's their money.
The revenue sharing is what you would think would piss all of them off. Like, really?
Right. If you're taking $20 out of my wallet, I expect you to spend it on something.
Yeah. Instead of just being a doormat every year, because every time my team goes to your city. Although, right, when you look at the percentage of the gate that the road team gets, right? Mm-hmm. So there's no incentive there when you're the Cubs or you're the Cardinals and you go on the road and you play Baltimore, let's say, right? There's no real incentive. You don't care because you're not getting a lot out of that anyway. And you're not getting any of the merchandise sales on that when you're the visiting team. And there's probably a little bit of a perverse incentive in there. You know what? We don't mind having doormats because what it ensures is that we get, 12, 13 wins a year because we know we're going to take 12 out of, 19 games against the Pirates? 18,
hey,
19,
that's 12 guaranteed wins. That makes us more competitive for the playoffs. The last thing that we want is, I wonder if
you would think our commissioner would feel different about that, right? This whole competitive balance thing, but we know how that goes.
Yeah, don't get me started on our commissioner.
All right, let's. This is a dangerous path for us, and I want to continue it at some point. But we need to collect our thoughts, and we need to get the hell out of here.
We do.
We said this is going to be a short show. It has not been.
It has not been a short show, and we haven't even talked about Elon Musk buying Twitter.
I'm okay with it. That's my thought.
Thrilled.
That's my thought.
Thrilled.
I'm okay with it.
Because here's what I want to see happen, and it seems to me that this is his commitment, and it seems that this is part of his reason for it,
mm-hmm.
for acquiring it. I just want to see the playing field level, and if you can't play in the sand. I'm not saying it's okay to dox people. I'm not saying it's okay to threaten people's lives. But if you're going to jump in on Twitter and you can't handle playing in the sandbox, then you need to get out of the sandbox. You don't get the other person thrown out. You're the one who has a problem. You need to deal with it. And I think that that's what's going to happen when Elon owns it now.
Well, there is the ability
to return it to what it used to be.
We've said, I've said this for years. Like, if you don't like something, you always have the ability to scroll past it,
right? Or to quit Twitter. You can do that. You don't have to have it on your phone.
You did.
I did. My life's better for it.
Maybe I should try it. Let's just have a podcast where we get off all of social media and see how we do.
We couldn't do any worse. It's not like we're posting like crazy.
All right, let's go.
Okay. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to help spread the word, please give us a 5-star review and tell your friends to subscribe. We're available on Rumble, Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen or watch podcasts. Also, be sure to check out the other Gateway City Sports Network podcasts, including Talking Sports on the Bleachers with Don Glenn, the Derek King Sports Show, 2 for 3 with Moose Michaels, Yacker Jacks, XFL STL, and End the Cards with A-Train Arlington Lane. Send us an email at the show at teamofrivalspodcast.com. You can find Elliot on Twitter at TOR_Elliot, and you can find Ron at TOR_Ron75.
All right, cool. Thanks.
You're welcome. Hey, this was fun. I'm glad that it was a short show.
we intended for it to be. It was not. But we'll be back maybe Thursday. Maybe some other time.
Maybe Thursday. I don't think that I actually have anything scheduled. I got the boy overnight. So, maybe Thursday.
Well, maybe Thursday. We love you all so much. We'll talk to you sometime this week or next week. Fuck, who knows? Bye, everyone. Love you.